Hello, and welcome to Point Park University versus John Brown University. I'm Teresa.
And I am Carson. This is the final game of the semester for our League of Legends season. Valorant will be continuing on after this.
As it should.
As it should. And I don't want to throw out false information, but I believe on Tuesdays and Thursdays, that will be the Valorant schedule going forward.
I believe you're right.
I think I'm right, but if I'm not, they'll correct me.
Yes.
So that shouldn't be too much of a problem.
Yes.
But this is exciting. I have not casted so far this semester.
This is my first time casting.
Wow.
As well.
All right.
Yeah, so we are both in the same boat, so to speak. And what an iconic night, the last night of League of Legends season, isn't it?
And it's also Halloween.
It is
Today
Halloween.
Is Halloween on the day of recording this.
We are dressed festively. You are dressed perfectly.
I can't get over this.
No, I think your outfit looks fantastic. At least people will know what you are.
Yeah, I think it's fabulous. I pulled this out of the mail today.
Oh my goodness.
And I put it on, so I'm still not used to it. It is making me giggle from time to time. It's very hot though. Believe it or not. It's actually this whatever this material is, it seems to trap the heat. Well, it's also cuffed on the pants and at the sleeve, so I think it's just, and it's so loose that it's just ballooning up with heat. And I'm just going to get slowly cooked during this game, and that's fine because I'll do it for Point Park Esports.
Exactly. I mean, I'm wearing this heavy leather jacket trying to emulate Pat Benatar turning into a vampire, but for the art, for the esports. Exactly.
Yeah, you got to do it.
You have to do it. And what an iconic night. What a coincidence that our last League of Legends game of the season falls on Halloween.
Yeah, that is pretty fun.
Yes,
gives us a reason. And as you can see here,
they are in costume.
the team is very dressed up.
Very dressed up. We see a Pokemon trainer.
Yep.
I am not sure what that is. A onesie Pokemon.
I don't know what that is. I don't know what that is.
And another costume that I'm not sure of.
Yeah,
I feel like is it Barbie?
I don't know who Kai is. I don't know what that is. But as you can see, the team's all being very festive today. Our crew members are very festive. Director Shandon is dressed up as himself, so that's very fun.
Very festive.
We love to see that. It's very, it's very in the spirit of the holiday.
And of course, our coach Chris, he's very studious, very serious. So, how do I say? Nothing stops the coach. I mean, how do I say? Nothing pauses for the coach. He is so intent.
You're right.
One of the best.
Are you surprised? Are you not surprised then that he didn't dress up?
I'm actually not. I feel like the coach is very focused.
Did he dress up? I don't remember if he dressed. You weren't here last year around this time.
It was not, unfortunately.
I don't think that he dressed up as anything, if I remember correctly. I don't think a whole lot of people. Because last year there was no, the way the schedule shook out, there was no game
on Halloween.
I think there was a game that was close. There was a game I think that was a couple days after, and that did not happen.
True.
So no one dressed up, but this year it lands perfectly on the day.
It does.
And so everyone's very festive.
Very festive.
It's good to be back. I usually cast Rocket League with Brett Powers, who usually stands where you are standing now.
Yes, absolutely. And, great. The brilliant Brett.
Yes, and we call him Bread. I call him Bread because that's his name on Discord, so that's just what I call him. But I usually cast Rocket League with Bread. And that has been put on hiatus this year, which is very sad. So I missed casting, and I miss casting Rocket League. Hopefully that comes back next year, but we'll see. I mean, that should be the plan, I would assume.
True. It should make a comeback, and I think the new year has a lot of new promises for us all. I think this year's good, but I think the next year will be even better.
Yeah. And next semester even, I think, will be a lot better.
I think it will.
Yeah, we've got... I obviously can't give details because then if I give details, the stuff's got to happen, and then they all get mad at me, and it's very understandable.
Never put the cart before the horse.
No, of course, that's a bad idea. But
and
we've been really hard at work over the last couple of months. Obviously excluding details, but to bring a lot of new content out, to get a lot of new content shot. I think we actually are finding a rhythm pretty nicely as a crew.
I believe we are. I think we are. I think we have done very excellent in the short time of the season. So
yeah,
in this brief season, we have definitely had a lot of progress, and we've seen a lot of great things, not only with how do I say, especially with the development of the team and everything. And it's rather exciting. I was going to say tonight is a rather bittersweet night, like exciting that we're casting, but at the same time, it's very sad that this is the last game of the season.
Yeah, that is sad.
True.
But to an extent, I agree with that. That is kind of the unfortunate thing, is that these seasons come to an end, obviously. But I'm excited for the rest of the semester. I'm excited to see what kind of stuff gets put out there for all you people to watch.
Of course.
And I believe I can say this. I hope I don't get in trouble for saying this, but we did record. I'm not saying it's ever going to come out. I don't know, so I'm not making a statement in that area. But we did shoot a demo of sorts of what will hopefully be some sort of podcast in some form, whether it be live or whether it be pre-recorded. I'm not sure. I'm not giving any details in that area, but we did shoot that, and that was fun. And so I think the plan is for us to shoot another one of those. Again, I'm not sure at what point, if any, they get released, but that's also been fun doing that as well.
Right. Absolutely. New projects, ever expanding.
Yep.
And
definitely. Yeah, moving a lot of stuff ahead.
Yeah.
And looking at some bigger projects on the horizon, and in the short term, we have some fun stuff planned. Today, we just went down to the Center for Media Innovation at Point Park and got some headshots taken that are, I would assume, what I'm told, going up on the website. They're going somewhere, so you might end up seeing those. I think they turned out well, so that was good.
That was
as
very
well.
good.
Yeah, it was AJ on the crew took photos, so shout out to him.
Absolutely.
No, did he get a headshot? Did someone get a headshot of AJ?
I believe they did.
Okay, yeah, that would be good. Hopefully it was turned out as good as the other ones. But so that's really what we've been up to as a crew.
Yeah.
Everyone's burnt out from the semester. At the last crew meeting, well, I guess the last crew meeting was today. I was not there, but at the one last week, we all went around and we're just giving little updates on how we were doing.
Yeah.
And everybody's burnout was at like a 7 to 9 or 10 out of 10.
True.
So I think we're all kind of feeling that, but we're still, and there's Caleb.
Yes.
Caleb on the free cam.
Yes, perfect. And
Caleb is actually on a Rocket League team. He is obviously on hiatus with the sport, but he is on the Rocket League team, and he just kind of jumped over and started helping us on the crew, and he's been a great help, and he's a great guy. But yeah, that is
shout out to Caleb.
Yeah,
absolutely.
that is one of our players and a crew member. He does both.
Yes.
Similar to Ricky Bobby.
Yes.
I do think that a couple of the guys were recruited as like Valorant subs. I don't think they've ever played, but they did get recruited as like subs for some of the games. Yeah.
There's Ricky.
And there's Ricky Bobby.
Yes.
Who I think has been casting League. Has Ricky been? This is how much I'm always like doing the free cam or whatever. I don't even know who's casting. Ricky has casted League at some point, I'm sure.
He has casted League. He is an exceptional player. Ricky is master of all things. So
he is a jack of all trades. He is a jack of all trades, and I don't mean any negative connotation with that. He just knows how to do a lot of different stuff, and he's one of our team leads. He's a great guy. There's Lucas.
Yes.
In his Superman, he had a white button down. He had a white button down shirt, which is actually that's a very simple and fun. It's a very simple and fun, and I don't know.
I would have loved that. I would have loved to see that, being a huge Superman fan myself.
I don't know what costume that one is.
I feel like it is a Pokemon.
I don't know what that is. I think it was too. I think it's like I forget.
I know that is definitely Ash there.
Yeah, he said he forgot his red hat.
Oh my god.
Which is like the one defining characteristic, sort of.
Yes.
No, but I figured as soon as I looked at him, I was like, oh, he's Pokemon trainer.
And
we don't know what Kai is. I don't know who is this man.
Have you seen this character?
No, is he something from anime? Is this an anime thing? Is this I don't know. I don't know what it is. But it looks fun, I guess. I'm sure it's funny. I'm sure if I knew, I would appreciate it more.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's usually how things go. Yeah.
And everyone has their own take on the costume and...
Sure, yeah, that would be kind of interesting. Are there any Halloween costumes that are like that? Are there any Halloween costumes that are kind of open to interpretation. Like, you don't really tell anybody what you're dressed up as, and everyone just kind of puts their own spin on it.
I feel like many people do that.
What kind of a costume would that look like?
I think it's up to. I think it's a subjective costume.
Maybe if you dressed like in a solid color. Okay, it looks like we're in pre-draft. Yes, this is pre-draft.
Yes, and
this is on a delay, I believe, because we did step into we are on a delay. We did step into pre-draft a while ago in real time because I was out there whenever they started to jump in. But
we have a 1 minute delay.
Cool. 1 minute delay.
So we are eager to see what's going to happen. It looks like we have a pretty impressive pre-draft, as we will see.
Shout outs to whoever made this. Listen, I don't remember who exactly made this pre-draft graphic, but shout out to that person, whoever it is on the crew, because this is fantastic looking graphic.
It is.
Or an overlay.
It's.
I think it's an overlay. I think I got my terminology wrong, but that looks great. So that's where we are right now. We're on a little bit of a delay. We're still jumping into the game. My limited.
And we are going live pretty soon.
Okay. Yes.
Yes.
And
just within a few seconds. While we enjoy our Red Bull.
Yes.
Fantastic sponsor.
Enjoy our Red Bull. Yeah. I haven't. Yeah. You know. They are here.
Yes.
Okay.
Perfect. All right. Wonderful. We are out of the gate. And
we are in.
We go.
We are in.
JBU in red.
That was a slight. I believe that was just a slight lag, is what we were told. Just a little lag in the game or the stream. I don't know exactly, but we are in.
Here they advance.
Point Park University is on blue side or on bottom side, and John Brown University is on top side or red side.
They are now in the Summoner's Rift.
They are, and we are looking at the mid lane right now. Highway is fighting. I couldn't catch the name. Who was that?
That I could not see, but I do see right now we are looking at JBU making their way.
Oh, they all have JBU in their name. Interesting. Yeah. I wonder why teams do that. I wonder why it's maybe it's just like literally just a choice. Like, do you want to put the school name? Yeah.
And looks like we have a bit of a lag, but we're getting that fixed right away. So hang tight with us, folks, while we get that fixed.
We are now looking at bottom. We were looking at bottom lane there. And then we're just getting a look at the players now. The one thing I've noticed, there's a and I maybe
focused.
And not only that, but the one thing I've noticed, and obviously I'm talking about two very different games here, but the energy in the room for Valorant is so different than the energy in the room. Oh, we have a little bit of a fight here.
Here we go. We are actually having
a little bit of a
fight here, first spat, if you will. Here comes the minions, or as we call them, winions.
Winions, that's awesome. I haven't heard that one before. Yeah, we have a little skirmish here in the bottom lane with JBU Naughty, JBU Force.
Looks like JBU
gosh.
Force,
I apologize about the names.
Force. And we have JBU Nasty.
JBU Nasty and Q Force.
And IBU RQ.
Listen, we're not going to try to make you people memorize names because I certainly will not. They're moving around very fast. But we are looking at the bottom lane now.
Yes.
And now this is, as a disclaimer, I'm not an expert in many things, and especially not League of Legends. But we are here to provide the good commentary for the people. So this is my limited knowledge of League of Legends. I do believe there are two players that occupy the bottom lane. One is a bottom lane, like a bottom laner, like a character.
Of course.
Or a champion of that type. And the other player's goal, and I think it's just like a support kind of role. It's like bottom support or something.
Looks like the minions are getting quite a beating from
JBU. The minions, if you think about it, the minions are in. They got the short end of the stick like every time.
Very true.
They are just the meat shield.
But true, but they are vital.
Okay, we might get a kill here. Point Park might see first blood.
Will we see first blood or not?
Maybe.
Very early in the game, too. It looks like we're getting into a very intense game so early in the game.
Is this maybe one?
Let's see. Let's see. We're getting very close to it.
No, okay. But anyway, just to wrap this up, I do believe the role of the two players in the bottom lane, those two champions, one is to essentially the role of one of them is to essentially let the other one get super huge.
Very
like
true.
feed them all the minion kills, feed them the tower kills, try to help them get player kills. And then obviously you have your middle laner, which we're looking at now, and then you have your top laner, and then you also have a jungler. The jungler runs through these middle areas. If you all look at the mini-map in the bottom right corner,
yes,
you see those 3 distinct paths, one going up top, one on the bottom, and one through the middle. And then there's that sort of maze-looking area in between all of those sections.
Yes.
Those are the jungles.
The jungles.
The point of the jungler is to essentially exist within the jungles, pick up the buffs that are there for the taking, to fight the other team's jungler, and also to gank. Gank is the nomenclature used in the League of Legends world. Ganking is essentially sneaking out of the jungle and jumping like the person in the middle lane or the bottom lane or the top lane. They're essentially, the role of the jungler seems to be just to cause problems, and we're looking at first blood.
First blood so early in the game. This is really exciting, quite intense.
Yeah, the first blood from John Brown, but we might see Point Park answer that. Oh, get him. Yeah, there we go.
Yes,
all right.
Yes, we have. In fact, there actually has been also Kakita, it looks like, had slain one of the JBU players, I believe JBU Force. And in retaliation, JBU BT, I think it brought.
Oh, come on. That was close.
Very close, very close.
Yeah, so that was good. Point Park answered back with another kill within less than, I think, 20 seconds they answered that other kill.
Yes, and
John Brown University picks up a second kill.
True.
Again, early on in the game, from what I've observed, literally while observing game and from what I've seen, these very early minutes are obviously important for establishing your strategy, but I have seen teams come back from quite a deficit in the early game.
There has been like within minutes.
Oh wow, yeah, they're gonna get. Come on, Ralts. They're probably gonna get Ralts here. Yeah, they got him.
There we go.
Okay, so 1 kills to 4. That number, you don't want to let that number get too far away from you, obviously, because then it just starts to snowball.
Yeah, we're looking right now at Point Park with 1, JBU 4.
Well, with 5 essentially. Yeah, that guy wasn't getting out of there.
JBU University is on a killing spree, so we are seeing some conflict there, and here we go again with the lane becoming quite contested.
Now the Pioneers have always, also from what I've seen, the Pioneers have always had a solid early game in League of Legends. The mid game and the late game, it's really the mid game is where they lose a little bit of their footing and the other team has a chance to make a comeback, and sometimes that comeback is strong enough to turn the tide of the game.
Very true, very true.
So I'm curious to see here. This is a little bit unlike, this is a little bit out of character in a way for the Pioneers, because I've always seen them when I've watched these games, I've always seen them excel in the early game and get themselves a little leg up, and then sometimes it goes south, sometimes not. Sometimes they pull out a solid victory. It's happened.
Very true. And at this point, it can be anyone's game just because of the time. It's a volatile game.
Yeah, it's very. So, not even 7 minutes in. Again, the Pioneers can flip this. That gold deficit is not too heavy.
It's an easy comeback if we show a really strong mid game.
Yeah, now, of course, we are just looking at things. Okay, that's interesting.
We're seeing quite a lot of action in this particular.
Okay, this is interesting. Point Park is actually higher leveled right now. The Pioneers are actually higher leveled than John Brown. John Brown's got 4 more kills. I don't know exactly how that's squared away with the math, but that's just how it is. If I'm looking at numbers correctly, yeah, I mean, our top laner is 1 level higher. Jungler is same level.
True.
Okay, so now it's a little more tied up. It just kind of evened itself out.
True. And
so the Pioneers are still in this. Whenever the first dragon pops up, I'm interested to see if the Pioneers get aggressive and go for it, or if they try to maybe like snipe it. Like, there's a lot of different things you can do.
And then, we're definitely seeing quite a good fight from JBU as well. So I mean, and one thing we do have to admire too is always in these games is from both sides an excellent show of sportsmanship. There is quite a code of sportsmanship that goes into these games.
Yeah, I will say for the most part, even in the other games as well, the sportsmanship has been very good.
Very good.
And actually, I don't think I know a single instance of like poor sportsmanship. I do know that sometimes Twitch chats can do what Twitch chats do, which is they get a little messy.
Looks like JBU deals slain all I ask.
Okay, so yeah, this is interesting. If Kiki can pick up this kill, which it looks like
looks like JBU is going for that drag.
Yeah, I'm curious to see if I'm curious to see if the Pioneers even contest this, because it seems like they've lost a little bit of ground. It's certainly ground they can make up. I have no doubt about that. But I'm just curious to see what this game looks like in 5 or 10 minutes. It looks like Point Park is not going to try to contest the first dragon. So that will go to JBU.
Red team has slain the dragon, so first drag for JBU there.
And the dragons all provide buffs. It would be silly for me to sit here and pretend that I know what all 5 of them are. But they give your team a small buff, so eventually you get 3 or 4 of those, and that starts to make a big difference.
Ralts has. And looks like we also have some differences in gold. Right now, Point Park is at 13.9K against JBU's 15.5 now. It went from 15.4 to 15.5K right now. We're also looking at...
And that's not a big gold deficit, by the way. That's not... That's really not bad. We've seen games where the gold deficit gets up to 8, 9, 10,000. Like, oh, look at this. He pushed in too deep. Get him. Okay, well, that cut away from the camera. The camera didn't want us to see that.
It looks like we haven't... neither team has captured any turrets yet, but it's still early in the game. Turrets really don't start until mid-game, per se.
Yeah, and they still have the the towers still have their shields.
True.
For those who do not know, if you break the shields on the towers before they fall, you get extra gold. That can obviously be very helpful in buying items, in progressing through your upgrade chain with whatever champion you've chosen. So, and I don't think that that's really a huge part of anyone's strategy from what I've seen.
Right.
I've seen a few tower plates get broken.
Looks like we're having a bit of conflict here.
Yeah, a little bit of a skirmish.
A bit of a skirmish going on, and right now, just looking at the score, Point Park 2 against JBU 6, and right now, looks like Point Park is trying to gain up its 15,000K.
I wonder if they're just going to fall back and let him walk into the tower and take damage, because he won't go further than
At this point, it's uncertain what the strategy will be. It will be interesting to see what strategy of either team will deploy.
Yeah, and again, I'm not going to pretend like I'll give you some elaborate breakdown. Yeah. No, we're here to have fun. We're here to provide some commentary.
Yes, exactly, for you, the wonderful audience.
Yes, for the final game of the semester. So, and we're having fun. So far, it does seem like I can't tell exactly what happened, but I have seen a stronger early game from the Pioneers. But again, they might be trying out something new that might be paying some more long-term dividends, because that has been the problem throughout the season. And I remember last year too, the problem has always been that they kind of gas out in the mid-game, and I don't know exactly what it is. It's just I feel like maybe it's not even one specific thing, but some decisions get made. Again, that's just how it's been. So this is interesting. If this is some sort of new strategy that pays some long-term dividends, that's interesting. This also could just be they got caught a little off guard.
Looks like we're getting quite a bit.
This is a team fight. Yeah, this is our first team fight.
Oh my goodness, we've got a slain.
Okay, this would be huge.
This is rather huge. Oh my goodness, look at that. Okay, so now we have a 2-point advantage at this point. Actually, no. We are actually, yes, right now Point Park has gained up to 5.
Holy cow, that tower does so much damage. Okay, wow. The Pioneers have seemingly brought this...
It looks like they have really pulled a strategic move.
Oh, wait a second. I did not know that the Pioneers got the Rift Herald. This is interesting.
This is interesting. Very interesting.
And they are breaking tower plates, as we said. That does give you more gold. It looks like the Pioneers are going to take the first tower.
This is very, very interesting.
Oh, are they, though? No, it looks like they're going to be just short.
Quite short, but
it
very
seems
close.
like they all slowly pulled out of that fight to go back to other places on the map. As you can see,
strategic.
John Brown is looking to take our tower here, but hopefully he gets scared off.
True, Ribeiro's right there protecting the tower.
Yep.
And look.
So that's interesting. That's good. I think the Pioneers really needed that. The gold deficit has gone from just under 2K to just about 700. So they have cut the gold deficit in half.
Yes.
Which is obviously very good. You don't want that gold deficit sticking around for too long.
No, definitely not. That's a heavy contributor.
Yeah, so we're looking at the top lane now. It looks like John Brown University is making multiple pushes on top and bottom lane at the towers on the Pioneer side. Pioneers are going to look to defend those. And yes, at 15 minutes, that turret plating I've been mentioning a few times in this broadcast will drop.
Yes.
That does not affect... That obviously gives the tower less health. Obviously, the shields have health. You have to break those before you get to the tower.
Very true.
But I wonder what the game mechanic there is. I'm guessing it just incentivizes an early push.
Very good point. Very good point.
And it makes it so that if if neither team breaks the turret plating, no one loses or benefits. Really, it's just sort of like extra credit. So the second dragon has flown in.
That's true. It looks like JBU is trying to swoop in for a second drag here. Let's see what Point Park will be doing.
We'll see. Yeah, so JBU is definitely moving, and the Pioneers have some presence in the area. We could see a team fight, or we could easily see a team fight. Yeah, the Pioneers are kind of swinging through. It looks like they're at least trying to disrupt JBU from attacking the dragon, which would leave them very exposed to getting pinned in that area and really having to go toe-to-toe with the Pioneers, who, by the looks of things, are... Okay, so they're not entirely over-leveled. We're over-leveled in a couple of areas, so if those, it might be more of an even clash than I was originally thinking. But, yeah, so we're not getting any footage of the dragon, and by the looks of the minimap, no one's actually there. So the Pioneers might have actually done themselves a good favor there by just having that strong presence.
Blue team has destroyed the first turret, so it looks like first turret goes to Point Park.
Now, I'm curious to see if Kikid now dies because of that, because he is being chased. Okay, he does give himself a boost. He does get out of there. That was a good play.
Very good withdrawal. Very quick.
Yeah, we like that.
Oh, and look at the gold.
Okay, now it looks like, from the looks of the minimap, John Brown is... Yeah, so John Brown is going to take the second dragon as well. This is interesting. So I used to think that 2 dragon buffs was like, this is it. The snowball's going to happen. It's over. And then it doesn't really do that. Now, the second dragon does put some spin on the map. So I believe there are 5 different types of dragons. And when you kill the second dragon, it creates a little wave that goes across the map, and the wave changes things. So certain dragons, so one of the dragons I think creates more water. One of them creates little air tunnels that can boost your movement. So it just gives a nice little aspect of replayability. But so that's what happened there when you saw the map change a little bit. It now looks different.
True.
That is why.
Yes. So we're definitely seeing...
Okay, now the gold deficit's gone. Okay, they're up 300, but 300 is not very much. It looks like Point Park is summoning the Rift Herald again, making a push. Maybe there's gonna be a team fight here in middle lane.
Looks like we're seeing that. Looks like everything, all the action is gathering in the middle lane. Looks like we're getting geared up for a big conflict.
The spectator wants us to see the little fight happening in the bottom lane. That's more important. Okay, whoa. This is interesting. There's a lot of AoE attacks happening.
Oh my goodness.
The Pioneers are, if they get now.
Oh my gosh.
Okay. Here we go. Are they going to make a push again, or they looks like they're going to withdraw? They got their kill. They probably want to cut their losses while they can. They are sticking around, though, maybe more than I thought. So they're not doing a full withdrawal, but they are...
It's a strategic pull back and pull forth.
Yeah, they might be trying... I would imagine they're trying to keep... Yeah, I mean, it looks like they're going to take middle tower here. They're trying to just put the pressure on John Brown University.
Excellent. Red turret destroyed. That is 2 turrets for Point Park.
Yeah, so that is... now, we'll see. There's obviously, with a game like League of Legends, there's I mean, like, seriously, folks, if you've never played League of Legends, the amount of strategy that goes in this game, it's actually sometimes hard to understand how complex this game gets, how many different champions there are, team composition, build orders, not to mention the strategy all within the game. There's obviously an aspect of you can try to level and you can try to get kills.
You could possibly lose a tower.
The Pioneers seem to be in this new strategy where they've actually taken 2 towers kind of quickly, or what feels like maybe quickly in the game. And they're not necessarily winning when you look at the numbers. Now, if you look also on the scoreboard, folks, in the bottom middle of the screen, you will see
just underneath the logos for each school, that there are highlighted yellow numbers. Those are called CS numbers. What CS stands for, I wish I could tell you, but that is an indicator of sort of how the game is going from both teams' perspectives. So if you look at the top lane and the jungler lane, I believe that's, I hope I'm getting that. I believe the jungler lane is the second one down. We have a higher CS than, I'm sorry, Pioneers have a higher CS than John Brown.
They're witnessing a rampage.
Okay, I'm missing action to tell you about numbers. This is more interesting. The Pioneers are making a push pretty deep into JBU's territory. Yes. They're getting another kill. Okay, this is interesting. This is very interesting. I think I was correct in my prediction that the Pioneers, this seems to be a new strategy that they've drawn up in the playbook.
Right.
Because they're not, again, by the numbers, and actually now they are winning in kills and gold. The Pioneers appear to have fully turned this around. It was looking a little uncertain there for a moment, but it seems like they've actually turned this around, which is impressive.
Here. It looks like we may be getting another...
Now, I don't know what that is. I don't know what that floating golden eye. I think. Oh, maybe. Oh, wait. Is that literally just our middle tower? Have I paid attention that little that I just forgot what the middle tower looks like?
Blue turret has been destroyed, so it looks like JBU has claimed a turret, but only one.
I think top lane that was the turret gone. Anyway, I got lost in the weeds there a little bit. I was trying to explain the CS numbers at the bottom. You want to pay attention to those. You want to pay attention to who's got the higher ones. That can give you some indication of how the game is going if you are like me and have more of a rudimentary understanding of the game. So we are about to reach the 20-minute mark. JBU is making a push on Pioneer middle lane, pushing about as far in as the Pioneers were pushing in to take their middle tower, and they have done so. So just like that, the gold deficit is back in JBU's favor. They have a higher tower count. They've taken out they've taken out 2 of the Pioneers' towers. The Pioneers have taken out only two of theirs. Oh, now 4. They've gotten another one.
However, when we look at the points, we're looking at Point Park 9 versus JBU 7. But
okay.
At this point, it could be anyone's game. Right now, we're looking at a rather large conflict.
Interesting. So the Pioneers are not going to risk a team fight against JBU. They are going to give this dragon up. I wonder what they're probably going to make a push for a tower, or oh no, they're going to go for the Baron, because I believe the Baron has also spawned in. Or am I completely? No, the Baron has spawned in. So the red team has a dragon. I'm worried that JBU can now just walk. Yeah, JBU is just going to walk over now and make the Pioneers fight them too. I'm not sure how this is going to go. This is interesting.
If they can take down this Baron, then that would be to PPU's advantage.
Yes, the Baron gives your minions, I believe, a 50% increase to health and damage, which is, that's substantial. That can make a difference.
Yes, it does.
I don't think that is enough to shift the course of a game, but it can give an under-leveled team, or even a nicely leveled team, just another little boost. They're just meat shields. They have 50% more health. Who doesn't want that?
Exactly. And it's often these little intricate things that can kind of lead to unexpected turns in the game.
Yes, it's not always... What's interesting with League of Legends is that it's not always going to be a team fight or some big moment that shifts the tide of a game. It happens in little bursts. It happens in small decisions of strategy to take a right instead of a left.
It's an intensely strategic game.
It's incredibly, and I think that's the one thing is like this, and I guess I don't really know, like, I don't play League of Legends, but I understand it. I don't know what League of Legends looks like to people that don't really understand it or play it.
Looks like we're getting into quite a big, if we look at the screen on the bottom right, looks like it's a big conflict.
Yeah, that was certainly something.
Yes.
That happened pretty quick. And now the Pioneers are getting chased out.
That's true. And now we're looking at PPU 9 versus JBU 8.
Yeah, JBU's got 3 dragon buffs. Those do start to make a difference.
They do.
The Pioneers are looking at a 1.6k, 1.7k gold. Again, that's not a lot. And it looks like now JBU is going to go for the Baron, which Point Park might have softened up from a bit. I would think the Pioneers, again, not being an expert of the game in any manner, but it seems like the Pioneers should probably contest this in any way they can. It looks like they're going to try to go steal it. Here we go.
Goodness.
Action.
We are looking at quite a conflict here.
The Pioneers are trying to swipe the Baron.
They are
yeah, I don't think that's going to work out the way they anticipated. No, this could be pretty. Now this right here, as much as I said that this could be a small
double kill.
The Pioneers are keeping up here in a way that I was not expecting. But now they're going to get chased out. So here's what's happening. That, folks, I'm going to eat my words. Oh, geez.
We have had a double kill.
Okay, so, yeah, every single Pioneer's out. Now, I'll take back what I just said. This is the type of thing this could shift the tide of the game. That could be right there. That could be game ending. Easily. That was, they all got taken out. And the Pioneers lost the Dragon and the Baron. So I would not be surprised if this, again, I have faith in the Pioneers. They seem to be running this new strategy. I respect the hell out of that. I think that sort of growth, even if it's rough, is what they need to do. So I commemorate that. Like I have a lot of respect for that, but it seems like it didn't quite go the way they planned, I'd imagine. And this could be the point where we start to see, I don't know though. Like this is tough to tell. Like the Pioneers aren't like that. Like they're maybe they're down a little bad right now. But I can't tell. This is tough. I don't know how this is going to go. I would have thought that could have been the game-ending moment, but I would love to be wrong.
Yeah, at this point, it's still up in the air about the game. So right now we're seeing PPU sort of maneuvering, kind of swerving where they want to go next.
Okay, so Point Park responds with a kill.
And we also have, right now we're looking at 12 PPU versus JBU's 13.
That's in terms of kills.
True.
So now that number's updated to 13-15. Make that 13-16. Yeah, make that 13-16, 13-17. Yeah, see, when this starts to happen, this is going to start.
We've had a triple kill.
This is going to start the snowball pretty quickly. The Baron is now back by the looks of things, because they did kill it, right? I'm not going crazy. That Baron has respawned.
That I believe they were attempting to kill it.
So I am saying that this is most likely the end of the game here. That one sort of team kill, I think you can come back from that, but coming back from 2 is a lot tougher, especially when the levels now are looking a little more separated.
And now we're sort of looking at. It looks like JBU is retreating, followed by a pretty hearty chase by PPU.
Oh, because there's another dragon, so they're going to take the other dragon. Point Park is going to try to stop them, but I would imagine that's going to be tough.
Red team has slain the dragon.
So this is the point in the game where those dragon buffs do start to make a difference. Those little bits and pieces do start to add up. So we will see. I would imagine that this game will be concluding. And again, I take no pleasure in that, obviously. But I do think this game is probably going to be ending here in a few minutes, if I had to guess. So what I'm curious to see now is I'm curious to see if the Pioneers can take that knowledge of John Brown University's playstyle and sort of how they move, gauge any sort of knowledge from that, and see if they can adjust the strategy for Game 2, because that's what they've got to win that if they want to stay in it.
And right now we're sort of looking at sort of strategic back and forth. There's sort of a fluctuation in the different lanes, which is why the camera is a little bit all over the place. It looks like another blue turret has been destroyed in JBU's favor.
Yeah.
And right now we're looking at a possible conflict for PPU to try to regain.
It looks like, and then you can see those minions now are doing substantial damage.
Yes.
You saw that.
Yes.
That champion on that player on JBU was not actively attacking the tower. That's what that damage buff to those minions does. It really puts it over the top to the point where those are a real problem now.
JBU's got 7 turrets destroyed in its favor.
So there's 9 total. So that's certainly a thing. They are approaching the inhibitors, and then obviously the big crystal in the center of spawn, which is the win condition for the game. You've got to break that big crystal in the middle. So yeah, they're going to pick up this Baron.
They're going to pick up the Baron Nash here.
And I do believe that buff stacks, so now those minions have 100% health and damage, and that
Red
is...
team has slain the Baron Nashor.
Yeah, so that's going to be a bit of an issue.
That's very true. Right now, they're really gaining into power.
They're going to start taking swings here. They're going to start taking body shots. So yeah, I'm curious to see. I would like to get into game 2. I'd like to see what that looks like. Not meaning to rush. Not saying I want to get into game 2 now, but I'm saying I'm curious to see what that'll look like. I believe. Now, what happened there? I don't know why they all jumped back to spawn.
It looks like they may have transported, I believe.
Oh, is that what the Wind Dragon does? It gives you... Oh. I've just learned something new. Okay, so whatever the name of that dragon is, it allows you to get like fast travel. That's actually busted. That seems really good.
Yes.
That seems really good.
Right, and I mean right now JBU has definitely, they've really gone into, if I want to quote anime, they've kind of gone Super Saiyan at this point.
they might have. I'm curious to see. Now it seems like on the bottom lane, yeah. I mean, it seems like similarly leveled champions.
Looks like we're seeing quite a lot of action in the bottom lane. Look at the blue turret.
But top lane there. Top lane's all. Yeah, I mean, look at this.
Oh
this
my goodness,
yeah.
There is a 8 turret advantage to JBU.
That's 9. Well, that's an inhibitor. That's different stuff. That's the big one. So see, the Pioneers are definitely trying to contest this. They're trying to defend.
They are on defense.
It seems like whenever they go into tussle, though, they are getting wiped out.
Right now, JBU Nashti is dominating at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
so that was interesting. But I actually am, all things considered, very happy that we appear to have seen Point Park employ a new strategy for the game. That will conclude game 1. Goes to JBU.
JBU, it looks
they played
like,
a good game.
Yes, we have victory for JBU, 13 against 21. Right now, it looks like Coach is discussing with his team.
They're chatting.
It was quite an intense battle. Let it never be said it was not an intense battle.
Yeah.
Right now, I think they're sort of rethinking their strategies, see where the tide might have turned. Was it a collection of small decisions, or was it just fait accompli?
Yeah, and that's a great point. That is sometimes like you said, and I think I illustrated the point earlier. I think you honestly said it in a more succinct way. Is that it can be a big team fight, but sometimes it can also be a collection of small decisions that add up over time that can give a team a victory. I'm getting cooked. It is warm in this clown costume, but I'm doing it for the people. Because I'm here to give them all the best content
for the people, we must give the people the content.
Yes, that was
and we are actually going to break until the next game. So I think right now I guess we can kind of go over the game itself. This was a very intense battle. Mm-hmm. It doesn't look like there was any lull right from the gate. We had a lot of intense skirmishes. I mean, first blood just being slammed into the territory.
Yeah, and so yeah, curious to see what the Pioneers have going on. We're gonna go for a break. We're gonna pause the stream. We're not pause the stream, but we'll be right back.
We'll be right back. If you
yeah, sit tight. Game 2 coming up.
Game 2 coming up. If you want to grab a Red Bull,
of course, you could also do that.
Nectar of the champions, and
yes.
We enjoy our drink.
Yeah, so we'll be back in a few minutes.
And we'll see you in a few minutes.
Trying to find where you fit in the world can be challenging. But then there's a moment where it all comes together. And that moment happens at Point Park University. Career-focused programs converge with a vibrant downtown campus to prepare you for work and life. From experienced professors and internships to culture and job opportunities, you'll get the best of both worlds. Point Park University, where it all comes together.
Point Park Esports
versus
John Brown
University.
Yeah. Pioneers versus John Brown University. We are getting we were getting live footage from inside the room of Coach giving a little pep talk to all the players before the game. Gotta hype everybody up.
Absolutely.
You gotta figure out what to do with that early game.
Absolutely.
Again, I'm not an esports an expert. I'm not an expert in esports. I'm not an esports expert. I'm not really an expert of anything, but they've got to figure out that early game. It seemed like it was actually going good. There were a couple of moments that were really great in that last match where Point Park, the Pioneers were behind, and they made up the deficit, and at one point they got ahead, so that was great, and I love to see that. I love to see the team rally.
Very much, and right now it looks like Coach is rethinking the strategy that they're going to employ in the next game.
Yeah, he's really thinking.
He's in deep concentration.
He is. He's thinking.
He is. He reminds me of, Augustine Rodin's Thinking Man.
Oh, yeah,
Yes,
sort of.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's very stoic at times. He's very, we have a lot of fun. Coach is great. But, so that's what we're dealing with. And, again, I think I mentioned this early on. I don't know if I fully finished my point, but the energy in the room during League of Legends as to during Valorant is very interesting. League of Legends is very quiet communication because it's not as much of maybe sometimes you get little bursts of volume when there's something really heated in the moment happening. But something that's interesting is that during Valorant, there's constant, very audible chatter. There's a lot of...
There's quite an interchange of energy.
Yeah, and there's a lot of very on-the-fly thinking. A lot of Valorant saying, okay, go here. No, never mind, come over here because X, Y, Z. And they're communicating with each other very quickly. And in League of Legends, the room's always very quiet, no matter whether they're winning or losing. And the Valorant players keep it pretty even-keeled for the most part during the game, even if they're losing. Afterwards, obviously, the frustration of a loss or the sort of celebration of a victory is very apparent. But something with these guys, these guys seem very relaxed still. They seem like they're all thinking.
Very true.
They're really trying to figure stuff out. So it's interesting just to see how the emotions run after a game like that, which I'm sure was frustrating, but I'm sure it wasn't that wasn't really a total blowout. There were some big team fights that the Pioneers did not win sort of in the mid game that did dictate the late game, though.
Very true. And, as we were saying, there was a very palpable energy in that room. And,
for sure.
There is quite an interchange. And I think one thing to admire from both sides of the team, they definitely put a very intense fight right from the start and were relentless. There was hardly any lull in that particular game. What a send-off, though, for one of the last games of the season.
That was a very exciting game. That's a good point. That was a very exciting game.
Yes.
That is a good way to send it off before this season comes to a close. I got a small reprieve in between games to go outside where it's very hot in this room, and this level of heat inside this costume is just that level where you notice it and it's a little annoying, but it's not quite enough to drive you crazy, but it almost is.
Oh. I understand. I actually had to take off my leather jacket. I had to
You did take off the jacket, yes.
Yes, I had to stop emulating Pat Benatar.
Yes. So they are getting back into their seats.
Yes,
I would imagine we are going into some sort of. This question is coming entirely from a place of ignorance, and I don't know if you know the answer to this question. But
all right,
do they go into a pre-draft again, or is there one pre-draft? No, because there's a pre-draft and then there's a draft for every game. So yes, I would assume that they are that period where they were all kind of standing around that one monitor, just really thinking that might have been the pre-draft.
I believe that might have been the pre-draft, or it could have been the bans.
Okay,
Right
so
now we're in the ban phase.
We are in the ban phase.
We
so
are in the ban phase.
That's great.
We are looking at our delay right here. Right now we have switched not sides, but we're on the different sides of the screen with Point Park in red and JBU in blue. And we are looking at the ban phase going as we speak right now. Looks like they are choosing their bans wisely at this point. Point Park is definitely ruminating, taking just a slight few seconds to be very careful with whom they are banning. Looks like Hakid has gotten the first selection of bans underway, as has JBUQ Force.
Yes, and I don't know the intricacies of the ban phase. I also am not going to pretend to know the names of any of these champions, but you see those champions there at the bottom are the ones that are being banned. So I don't know, that's interesting that one player gets 3 bans on a team and then the other player gets 2 for a total of 5 total bans per team. That's interesting. I wonder if that is function purposes within the game. Oh no, so it's not. So that's interesting. So that's just for graphic purposes. We just put the little ban icons there, but it looks like every player does get a ban. It just looked like for a moment they were giving Kakid 3 bans and Ralts 2 bans, and then the other 3 were just not getting a ban. That wouldn't have made sense, but that appears to just be a graphic thing. So every player gets a ban.
Very true. And we're still undergoing our ban phase. Now we're going into pick phase as we speak.
Yes.
And right now we're just awaiting. Looks like the team is definitely ruminating, making very careful decisions. The coach is overseeing that, of course.
And just to
the other team,
sort of pull back the curtain, if this was not obvious, but team composition is very important. So these teams have been predetermined without a doubt. You know, the Pioneers and this is not good for me to say, but I don't know what does John Brown University call themselves? Their logo is a shield. I know that. So are they the Shields, or are they? I don't mean any disrespect. I genuinely don't. We had a little bit of a mix up with who we thought we were playing today, so that sort of is factored into this.
They're an eagle shield.
There's some sort of shield. So anyway, these 2 respective teams have played this team composition dozens and dozens of times in practice, in casual games, in ranked games. They've run this through, and you know, obviously there's maybe some variation in slight areas, maybe with build orders and such,
Looks
but
like
for the most part,
is giving the necessary morale push for the team.
Yeah, he was. But so for the most part, those teams are largely predetermined. Obviously, if one of your heroes gets banned, you've got to find a substitute. So that's the other thing, too, along with the complexity of this game.
Yes.
Is I believe there's 140 champions. It's some just like diabolical number of champions. And obviously, there are the 5 different classes. There's a lot of different champions that excel at certain things. So it's not like, so for example, if one of your champions in your team composition does get banned, it's a situation of you now have to switch to another champion that fits.
Of course, yes.
So on top of having to know all the strategy and the intricacies of League of Legends, you also have to learn how to play multiple different champions. They all function differently, and they all interact with other champions and with the game in different ways. So I do have a lot of respect for League players, because it's just a lot of information to have to absorb. And I would imagine that
it's like
that you have to what was I saying? You have to play this game for years, I imagine. This is not just a game that you can just pick up and figure out.
There is quite a lot of development and strategy in the game. You know, I think there is quite a bit of seasoning, especially when it comes to the nature of esports. So there's a lot of seasoning, a lot of veteraning, if that is a term. And
yeah, like you can't just pick up
intricate layers.
You can't just pick up this game and in a year have it figured out unless you are a very special talent in that particular area. But this is certainly a game that, you know, and not to mention, I do believe there's a patch update every 2 weeks.
Yes,
so you have to. So you're essentially on a 2-week cycle. Depending on what kind of strategies you're running, I would assume that not every strategy gets updated every 2 weeks, but you have to be in this constant state of adaptability.
Exactly. Adaptation is key to thriving.
Yeah, keep up with this game. So that's another interesting thing. And I don't play League of Legends, and I don't for that reason. It just seems like an incredibly complicated thing to learn. So I haven't had too much interest in actually learning it. I'm also not a MOBA guy. MOBAs aren't my kind of game. So, but it's I mean it's an incredible game. It's just not for me. And obviously I have grown more fond of watching it over the semester.
I have too. I've been quite invested in these games. I get quite excited. I'm always excited by the thrill and intensity.
Yes.
You know, it's how do I say it's the orchestrations of the game are fascinating.
Yeah, and I agree, and it's a little bit of a different vibe. Valorant is also very exciting to watch, but it's a different kind of situation, I feel, because with Valorant, it's maybe a bit more obvious to tell whenever things go wrong. Like, you can tell whenever a mistake was made, a shot was missed, just some bad movement, whatever it would be, grenade, who knows. But in this game, it's a little more subtle, so you have to actually like pay attention to some of those little subtleties in the game that goes, that might make a difference in 5 minutes. That might make a difference if that carries on.
Of course.
So,
and looks like the game has just started. Looks like right now
we're in.
They are both out of the gate. JBU right now is out of the gate, followed by Point Park.
And now, as you can see, according to our minimap here, we have flipped sides. So the Pioneers are now on, and I don't know why I said we, because we did not flip sides. We're on the same side of the table. The two teams have switched sides.
The two teams.
The Pioneers are now on the top side, red side. JBU is on the bottom side, or blue side. So just keep that in mind. The names are obviously all the same. Champions are going to look a little different. Colors are going to look a little bit different. But I have faith in people's ability to keep up with that.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. It's very common in these games for teams to often switch colors, sides, because sometimes having that new orientation, if you will, kind of gives you maybe an edge, refreshing of the memory, so to speak.
Yes.
And also if you see things from a new perspective, you know, that can be beneficial for both teams to maybe create an interesting game or give one team edge over the other and vice versa.
Yes, agreed.
Yeah.
And another thing that I briefly wanted to touch on, just to maybe give the people a bit of an insight into how this game is played, and this may not, I don't think this is a huge detail, maybe it's helpful. On the bottom left screen there, you can see where everybody is. You can see all of the movement. You can see the minions are the really tiny red dots that are moving along. I believe the bigger minions are just bigger circles, I think. And then obviously players are the largest circles with the icons on them. In-game, when the players are looking at their screen playing League of Legends, that is not how they see the minimap. There's a thing called vision. Now, vision, as far as I understand, is there are little nodes around the map that you can do damage to, and you can flip them to your side, and it gives you more vision over the field. It's especially important in the jungles, when there can be a lot of ganking happening in the mid-game, in the late game, or even in the early game, really any point that could be a little bit of a problem, picking up buffs for your team, and also going into the enemy jungle, taking their buffs. So that vision is a very important factor. So if you happen to see like, oh, why does everyone not see that there's a team fight happening in the middle? That team might not have vision in that area. So they might, that would have to be over via communication. We have a little bit of a skirmish here in the mid lane.
It looks like Point Park is trying to defend its tower right there.
Yes, and just to conclude my thought on that.
First blood has been drawn.
JBU has first blood, but that was to start up my point. So if it looks like things are happening on the minimap that do not seem obvious to when you're actually watching the game, keep in mind that vision thing. You know, they might not have vision in that area, so they might not be able to see as clearly what's going on. But JBU has drawn first blood 3 minutes in, I don't know, 3 minutes, like about 3 minutes in probably, when they got that.
Very true.
And so
right
we're
now,
just, this is the part where this is not going to be as exciting, obviously. There's going to be that build-up phase. Yes. Thank you, Shandon. That was very kind. But so that's that is what we're looking at. So these early minutes, not again, like obviously important, but this is kind of where the mistakes can be made if they're going to be made.
Very true.
They are correctable, but they have to be correctable mistakes. They cannot sort of steamroll. You have to figure this out soon. And there's a big fight happening, and Point Park has brought the kill. Point Park got 2 kills.
Yes, and right now, let's look at the goal difference. That is 6.4 against JBU's 5.8K. Right now, we're looking at Point Park 2 versus JB 1.
Mm-hmm. And not to put an outdated meme into not to date this content, but I'm over here just yapping. I'm like the original yapper, and like there's action happening on the screen, and I'm just like talking numbers and whatever. Who even knows? So I didn't even see that team fight happen. I was so focused on whatever point I was making.
You are bringing an excellent.
Viewers of the stream are like, "What is this blood yapping about?"
No, I believe you're giving an excellent explanation to those who might have just recently joined our stream. I mean, that's what we're here for, to help newcomers and veterans and longtime experiencers alike enjoy the game.
Yes, we are your guides.
Yes.
And it's my first.
Oh, looks like we have some minor delays. So
we'll have some minor delays.
So we'll continue our casting here. So
yes.
How are you feeling about the game so far? I think right now it's looking pretty. It's definitely not anemic, for sure.
No, and I think at this point, my shoe's untied. Dang it! At this point, I think it's one of those instances where. If I was more knowledgeable, I would maybe be able to give you some more insights. But to be honest, from what I've seen, I'm kind of watching the beginnings. The Pioneers brought back that little gold deficit, brought back that little kill deficit. I don't think I have any initial thoughts long term. This seems like we still have to let some things shake out. Who gets first dragon? I don't know. It's tough to say just based on the play of the last game. I'm not entirely sure. I would like to say...
Looks like we are back. We are back thanks to our fantastic crew out there and their technical mastery.
Yes.
Yes. Yes, especially courtesy of the wonderful Shandon here.
Yes. Shandon is directing. He's learning directing, and he's doing a fantastic job.
Absolute OG.
He's... because director Nate is not here. So some other crew members have been learning how to direct, which is very cool. We're looking at bottom lane here. It looks like JBU might try to gank. So that's what ganking. That's it right there. You guys see,
goodness.
I've mentioned ganking. That's it.
There's been some slaying.
The jungler swoops in, snatches one of them up. It's a real problem. It's a real thing that if you're a League of Legends player, you got to be looking out for that.
Right now it's looking even.
Yes.
And not only in terms of kills, but also in terms of gold.
Now, in this instance, you can look down, and you can look at those CS numbers.
Very true.
Could give you some indication maybe of, and again, I'm not claiming to know sort of how you can project that sort of long-term vision of the game based on CS numbers, but there is a bit of a difference there that is worth noting to some extent. I do think, from what I remember. So the first dragon is spawned in.
Yes.
It is certainly one of them.
It looks like PPU is going to attempt to get their first drag. Looks like they're coming in strong.
They are. Is JBU going to contest? By the looks of things, no, because a lot of them are still walking out of their spawn.
Very true.
They're still waking up in the morning. They snoozed the alarm a bit. And so it looks like Point Park is going to pick up this dragon. JBU might try to snipe this.
That's very true. I feel like PPU is definitely Carpe Diem at this point.
No. So that's good. So
excellent. First drag slain goes to Point Park.
That's a good move for Point Park. I wonder if now I'd be curious to really look at the numbers. To what extent those early dragon buffs did, how much do those actually affect the outcome of the match? So again, those dragon buffs do not mean much early on. I have found, from what I've observed, they become more of a deal later on.
Very
true.
So it
is good that Point Park picked those up.
Yes.
Who knows, John Brown University had 4 dragons by the end of game 1.
Very true.
If Point Park had taken 2 of those, how different is the match? Now here we go. JBU was trying. Now we haven't talked about the Baron, or no, not the Baron. What's the name of the Rift? No, what's the name of the beetle? Shoot, I used to know this. The Beetle has a name. That Beetle that you saw they were attacking, that Beetle, wow, Highway just barely got away. He, like, you could have burped on him and he would have died. But anyway, that Beetle up there, there's not really a thing for whenever a team kills that Beetle. Why am I forgetting the name? The point of the Beetle is you deploy it and it just headbutts the tower and it does lots of damage. And if you time it correctly, you can get it to be the finishing blow on one tower and the opening blow on the next. So that's the thing that I've seen multiple times. I think that is sort of the ideal scenario, but also if you just need to ram that tower down, you could drop down the Rift Herald. It's the Rift Herald. That's the name of the Beetle. I finally figured it out. It's called the Rift Herald.
Rift Herald.
There's like there's Barons, there's Dragons, there's Rift Heralds. I mean, and there's a menagerie of names within this game.
Of course, it's a multifaceted lore.
It is.
And looks like it looks like recently Point Park did try to take down tower, but it looks like JBU was, quite forceful in their defense, so it looks like they drove them back. They were.
And again, so the Rift Herald's over there. That's the thing that you want to pick up for sure, because they can give you pretty heavy tower damage. But the weird thing that I found is that there's nothing that pops up on the screen that tells you anybody killed it. I think and maybe that's game design purpose. Maybe that's supposed to be like it's kind of supposed to be sneaky. You're maybe supposed to be able to drop it on the other team without them knowing. But at any rate, that's kind of what we're looking at. So who knows? You will see the Rift Herald. It came out a couple times in the last match. I don't think I mentioned it, but it is definitely a mechanic within the game.
A little bit of conflict here.
Yes, and it looks like John Brown University has brought up the gold. No, I mean, there's no gold deficit. They just have one more kill.
True. Right now, the deficit is somewhat negligible. Right now, we're looking at Point Park 3 versus John Brown 2. And we also have looks like we have a tower and a dragon to Point Park's advantage.
Yes. And so now something I didn't mention, you see that little beetle right there that JBU just killed.
Yes.
I do believe that is a vision beetle. I do believe that gives you a large vision buff in the region that you kill it. So that is something to keep in mind. And also, you've seen multiple times whenever I mention that there are enemies in the jungles that give team buffs. Those are just kind of the chunky looking enemies that have little more substantial looking health bars. And you'll see the junglers go through and try to kill some of those. Sometimes, for example, the Pioneers jungler could try to go into JBU's jungle and take their buffs. That has happened before. So that is another thing to keep in mind. That's another, jungling is a very complex aspect of this game. It looks like Akid's going toe-to-toe with...
It does.
With their top laner, and maybe that's their jungler. Yeah, I wish I knew.
Being very vigilant about defending the tower there.
Yes, and see this right here. What they're doing right now, that's getting vision. You see how they flip it from red to blue?
True.
That's how it works. So that's a very important mechanic, and you'll see teams go out of their way to activate those because having that vision is very important.
It definitely gives you that advantage.
Yeah, just being able to see what's going on in other parts of the map because, like the league map isn't huge, but the characters also don't move that fast. So being able to know and anticipate moves even 30 seconds in the future can make more of a difference than you'd think.
Yes, that's true. Looks like Ribeiro is trying to get that vision beetle. And Red Team has summoned the Rift Herald.
There it is.
There it is.
So the Pioneers did get it.
Very
now you're not seeing it on camera, but it did headbutt the tower. It's got a health bar. It's not huge. It can take a couple of hits.
True.
The next dragon has also spawned in, and it looks like the Pioneers are going to make a push at that second dragon.
Looks like they are moving in quite sharply in there.
I will say this. I am liking whatever the Pioneers switched up from last time to this time. Maybe it was just... Again,
Red Team has slain the dragon.
That first match can mean any number of things because
chem plants have bloomed.
Right, so that's I think the Chemtech dragon is what that dragon's called. So again, you're going to see the map look a little different after that second dragon's killed. It does provide some sort of gameplay altering situation. Highway is going to get smacked up, it looks like. Oh, he got out!
He got out. Oh,
no, he did not.
No, it looks like there has been some... This is very intense. There's always fleeing and withdrawal.
Yeah.
And it's definitely when you make that run, when you may find yourself sort of getting shot as you run, so to speak.
Yeah. There's definitely like I'm mentioning, that little enemy in the top left there with a 2,160 health bar. That's one of those buffing enemies I was mentioning. I just wanted to point that out just to give people a little visual. But yeah, so this is interesting. Pioneers have 2 less kills. They're looking at, again, these deficits are not bad. The Pioneers have 2 more dragon buffs than the other team, and it looks like across the board, okay, so our mid laner is 2 levels down. That's a little bit of a situation for sure, and our bottom laner is 1 level down.
That is true.
So we have 2 other lanes where the levels are ours are 1 up. So
turret plate has fallen, and the goal deficit, we're looking at sort of a 2,000. We're looking at 2,000K.
About 1,500.
About 1,500.
Yes, again, not bad. That can be flipped very quickly.
Yeah.
There seems to be a bit of a lull in the action. Maybe there's some pings happening. There's some things there's some things happening in this part of the map.
That's very true. And it looks like right now, how do I say, the game is at a lull. I think people are trying to regroup and re-strategize. Right now we're looking at JBU.
So the Rift Herald has spawned in again.
JBU 3.
Yes. The Rift Herald has spawned in again. Kakid's getting pinned. This is not good. It would be
not very good.
Okay, so he's going to get away. It looks like they were not actually trying to kill him. They were trying to keep him away from the Rift Herald. Because again, you want that Rift Herald.
Looks like Ribeiro is trying to defend All I Ask from Brobs.
Yes.
And this is always excellent to see teamwork in defense, you know, coming into, you know, swoop in and help your compadres. Always.
Yes.
Another excellent show of sportsmanship.
Yes, and that's a good point, and that is good. So, and that's what I was mentioning earlier on with sort of like the roles of team composition. Is I wish I remembered who was which down there. I think it was Ribeiro and All I Ask. So Ribeiro's goal, I believe he is the support role, and All I Ask is the bottom laner. Ribeiro's goal is just to make sure that All I Ask gets levels, get him buffed. The term in the game is called they're getting fed. You're feeding them levels, you're feeding them kills. And then you say, oh, that bottom laner is very fed. That's a term meaning that they have a lot of power. They're very high leveled. They've got a good build. That kind of thing.
Yes, and looks like right now we're just sort of seeing a reorganization of the strategy.
Yeah, this is interesting.
Yeah, this is an interesting move on both parties. Looks like Point Park is really making some intense power-ups in what they're doing. This is actually probably a good decision for them to really buff themselves up.
Yeah, I can't quite tell exactly what's going on here. Maybe teams needed to regroup. They might be waiting around for the next objective timers to come in, maybe to take a dragon, or I forget exactly when the Baron spawns in, but it's going to be soon that the Baron is going to be here. And again, the Baron buff is really one that you want, so if these teams are just trying to get leveled, okay?
Looks like JBU Pitobs is on a killing spree.
And so you look at JBU now is looking at a 3-kill difference. Again, this is not much. If this skirmish goes a certain type of way, ooh.
There is a rampage in JBU's favor. There is a shutdown right now.
Okay. If Ribeiro can get out of there, that's pretty... yeah, I figured he's going to get taken out.
Unfortunately, Ribeiro has been slain.
18 kills in 16 minutes. That's... Again, I don't have a really like an upper or lower data set for my prediction. That doesn't seem like a ton. I know the one game with the Pioneers, they had like 15 kills in 15 minutes. That's nuts. That's really insane. So maybe this is not super crazy, but yeah, I can't quite tell what's going on. It feels like the Pioneers have a grip on the game, but they're losing it, or maybe they don't. I can't quite tell what's going on here.
Looks like in terms of turret, they
took two of our
teams are equal. Or no, I believe,
2 of the Pioneers'
looks
turrets.
like JBU has the advantage of turrets with 2 in their favor. Right now we're looking at the score. It is JBU 8 versus Point Park 4.
Yes.
And it looks like Ralts, as well as the others.
Okay, so the Pioneers are making a big move here. They're going in for a third dragon. They're all in.
They're all in. It's very intense. They're relentless. They are certainly seizing this dragon. And they have slain the dragon.
Wow. Okay.
Fantastic.
But did you all see that? I don't remember names, but see, the blue team didn't go in there to fight.
No.
You see that. They could have pinned the Pioneers. They could have pushed it. They could have gone toe-to-toe. They did not do that. And here's why they didn't do that. That would have been silly. It probably would have been, right? So they didn't challenge. But what they tried to do was they stood just outside of the dragon's reach, and they tried to I think I don't know if that's ganking, but they tried to steal the dragon. That's a strategy that happened. I've watched Point Park do it. You let the other team get the Baron or the dragon down to really low health, and then the Pioneers have a champion that does some sort of long range, high damage attack, and they try to snipe the dragon over the wall, and it's happened before. But luckily, the Pioneers actually secured that one away. And they've brought the kill deficit back to only 1, and the gold deficit to about 2.2.
Yes, it's an impressive recovery.
Yeah, they needed that. So again, that those 3 dragon buffs, who knows whether it's enough to change the tide of a game. But it might be. Like, we might see the Pioneers take a bit of a lead here. That is entirely possible. Sometimes it is tough to gauge the actual value of those dragon buffs. Sometimes I feel like I see the Pioneers get 3, and I'm like, oh, well, certainly this is going to turn into some sort of snowball, and it never does. But sometimes they do make a difference, clearly. So it is tough to say, but again, these are things just to keep in mind on the UI. The UI is very complicated in League of Legends. There's a lot going on. So just keeping an eye on those things can give you some sort of idea of how the game is going and sort of where we're at in terms of a win condition of any kind. So Pioneers are down 2 turrets, and we are looking at, that's kind of the situation we're looking at.
Right now we're actually looking at a pretty intense fight here. It is a team fight. It looks like quite a lot of fireworks, so to speak.
Ooh.
JBU Nashty is on a killing spree. Looks like there's a surge from JBU.
Interesting. They didn't push right away. They were
There's a double kill. Double kill.
Ooh,
and there's
okay.
a shutdown.
Kakid, nice shutdown. Is he going to push in again? He's in there alone.
Oh my goodness. Oh, right. Looks like there's a double kill.
Did Kakid get one of those? I think he got one before he died.
I believe so. It is JBU 12 versus Point Park 9.
Another thing, folks, to keep in mind as you're watching the game. Respawn timers get longer as the game goes on. If you die in the first 5 minutes, your respawn timer might be 10-15 seconds. I don't know exactly how that's gauged. But you see here, on Point Park's team, Ribeiro, 25 more seconds until he spawns in. Now, you might say, Carson, it's 25 seconds. It can't mean much. Oh, it means a ton. If you are in the late game and the other team is pushing your crystal to win, 25 seconds can make all of the difference in the world. 25 seconds is a long time. As I'm saying this, Ribeiro still isn't spawned in yet. Like, imagine in the late game, so that becomes more of a problem. So those team fights really start to mean something, because if the Pioneers get wiped like they did in that first team fight in game 1, it's 40 seconds until they come back, and in that time the other team can go into Point Park's jungle, take all the buffs. They can grab the Baron, they can grab a Dragon, they can grab the Rift Herald. They can do all these things. They can make a push on a tower, because no one's there to defend, because they're all respawning still.
Very true. And usually with a game like League of Legends, it takes a matter of anywhere from 7 to 10 seconds that I've seen in my experience of observation for just a quick tide. I mean, there can be many kills. You can get Dragon, you can get your tower fall, and it's those 7 to 10 seconds that are actually very, very vital. So having that 40-second delay for the respawn it's quite a kick in the bucket, so to speak.
Yeah, it's massive. And so right now you see the Baron is here. No one's really going in on the Baron, and I would assume that is because whoever goes in for the Baron has got to figure there's a team fight waiting for me, because the Baron is not something that you leave uncontested lightly, if that makes sense, right? Like,
yes.
You do not take the concept of leaving the Baron uncontested. You don't take that lightly, because that buff is so substantial.
It's very substantial
later on in the game. So no one's really going for it, because they figure you got to stick with the team fight. So I would assume if we get some sort of little skirmish where 1 or 2 kills happen, I would not be surprised if that team then pushed in for the Baron, because you have less to contend with there. You have to just deal with the few that are left, and if they're regrouping, then sometimes the Baron is kind of free, and that's a scary thing for their team, but that's kind of where you end up.
Very, very true. And right now we're looking at everything. It's a bit all over the map right now. I think a lot of the teams, this is an intense game, but it's very different from the previous game.
Okay.
We are seeing
the 4th Dragon has spawned in.
Yes, and there is a shutdown at this moment. We have a red turret destroyed.
Okay.
JBU is 13 versus Point Park's 10. But now we're looking at Point Park, and they are really, really relentless in taking this dragon.
Which would be the fourth. And as you see, like I sort of mentioned this, there's not a full team there to contest them. It's only 3, and they're doing a very good job at keeping them back handily. And
Red
again,
team
you
has
see,
slain the dragon.
is that Delcid? JBU Delcid, he tried to take it. He tried to zoom in. He tried to take it. It didn't work again. You know, the Pioneers are looking at a 5. Let's just run it. Yeah, they're looking at a 4.1 gold deficit, 2 kill deficit. That is, you know, at this point, that's not a huge. That's one team fight.
True.
And it's not even a team fight. It's 2 kills.
It's 2 kills, and
it's a skirmish.
And also, it would be. I would think it'd be an easy recovery, so to speak. I think they can.
Okay, I thought they were going to get Ribeiro, but teammates are going to step in and protect. Which
yes, exactly.
That's great to see.
Always have your backs. Always have your.
Yes, and it looks
backs.
like Kakid's going to go in on Nashty here. Is he going to get him?
Oh yes.
Woo!
Oh, all right. There's been a shutdown.
Another one. Okay.
A double kill.
Yep, and see, like I said, here is where you're going to start to see the Dragon buffs come in to play. The Pioneers have got this, so it's actually still at a 2 kill deficit. But okay, so actually none of the numbers really moved there. Was that did I go crazy? Did I not see? Did Point Park not get those 2 kills, or what just happened?
I believe that JBU had gotten those kills. There was a double kill in JBU's favor. It looks like unfortunately Ribeiro was slain.
Okay, but did Point Park get also 2 kills? Because I thought it was a 2 kill deficit before, and now it's still a 2 kill deficit. I don't know. I think I wasn't paying attention as much as I thought I was there, but again, I don't think that difference. I mean, the difference in gold, I think, is actually a bit more concerning. I guess you'd say now it's a 5K gold difference. No, it's still about 4. That gold difference is more concerning than the kill difference, because like I said, that kill difference too is nothing. That's a half of a team fight. That could happen in a moment's notice. It might happen now, as maybe we're starting to see some teams get interested in the Baron. You got Q-Force over here. Yeah, on the minimap, there's some sort of coalescing.
There's a bit of a gathering. You know, right now this game is mostly about retreat and strategy.
Yeah,
it's a bit of a Napoleonic strategy.
Yeah, you have to be calculated. You can't just run through every single gate in League of Legends unless you're ridiculously overpowered. But now we're going to see a team fight. This is a real team fight.
Yes, we are seeing quite a team fight. Very intense. JBQ Force has slain Ribeiro. Right now we're looking at, and All I Ask has in retaliation.
Okay, so this is so that's a thing.
Nashty.
The Pioneers are
Nashty has slain All I Ask, so there's a lot of retaliation equally being exchanged.
Yeah, see, and now so Kakid is hiding in the grass. I don't believe they see Kakid, because they might try to get him, but he's not really threatening to them because there's 3. Kakid is hiding. I don't think they see him in the bush. I think you can hide in there. And as you can see, still, the Pioneers have yet to spawn in ever since. And look at this; they're already halfway through through the Baron. I wonder if Kakid is planning on sniping the Baron. I wonder if he is. He's sitting there. He was charging something up. Kakid's gonna do it. I think he's gonna try to snipe.
I believe that.
Well, never mind. I was dead wrong.
No,
he's not gonna do that at all.
He has slain the Baron Nash.
Right, so this is, and like I said, you'd think that, you know, when are those 4 dragon buffs for the Pioneers going to make a difference? They might not. It's a really weird thing. Like, they give you buffs here and there, but it's really tough to gauge how much they're actually going to do in the long term, because I have to eat more. It's because I thought eventually you'd see the Pioneers take the lead. They've not done that. You're now looking at a 7K deficit in gold. It's just gotten bigger.
Yes.
And so is the kill difference.
That's going to be difficult to bridge that gap.
Again, this is the tricky part about watching the league. Is like it's tough to calculate how much of these little differences, because obviously those dragon buffs are not going to win the game for you.
Very true.
But if you utilize them properly, they're going to be a big help. So
yeah, that's going to give them an overall advantage.
The Pioneers have to do something. As someone who's, again, I'm not an expert on League of Legends, but I do think they have to do something soon. They've got to figure out a way to turn this around. And see, look at this. Like, look at that guy in the middle lane, Ralts. Like, he's really having trouble getting rid of those minions because now they have that buff. That buff is super legit.
That's very true.
It's super legit.
And we're looking at the turret damage. JBU has a 7 advantage over Point Park's 1.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so look at that. JBU has 7 turrets. Point Park has 1 turret. But Point Park has 4 dragons. That's what I was talking about. Is like, is there a strategy where you try to go for all the dragons? Or is there a strategy where you have to level? There's a weird situation where, look at this, they're straight up pushing into Point Park spawn. JBU's straight up pushing into Pioneer spawn.
That's very true.
They're really doing some damage.
There's
and it's like
quite a bit of damage there.
So that's why the early game and the mid game is so interesting. There's this really interesting dynamic of, okay, how many dragons are we going to go for? And how much
Khajiit is on a killing spree, it looks like. There's a shutdown.
Okay, so
Double
the Pioneers
kill.
defended their spawn.
They're defending it very diligently. JBU is coming in with some really considerable strong force. They've really given a bit of a whammy there.
Yeah, they have. So, and that's the interesting part is like, okay, in the early game, how many dragons are we going to go for? Are we going to try to go get the Rift Herald? How much, because another term of League of Legends is called laning. There's a laning phase where the top, middle, and bottom laners do their best to kill as many minions as they can, get chip damage on the tower, try to pick up a kill here and there to get the leveling process started. So there is an aspect to this. Now,
Dragon
Point Park's going to go for another dragon.
Very true. So if they slay this will be a 5th dragon.
Oh. This is going to be the first one that's contested. And the Pioneers should probably stop fighting. Okay, so they're gonna bank on the fact that they're gonna get this dragon for free unless they all get wiped out.
Red team has slain the dragon, so the dragon does go to Point Park.
But it did not pop up. Why did it not pop up on the interface below their gold?
Very interesting. I'm not sure because it did go to the red team. It may be some lag on the updated scoreboard.
It might be. That's interesting because it did say that Point Park got that kill, but they didn't. So this is another interesting thing. Point Park they're still looking at about 5k gold difference, only 3 kills. And again, 3 kills is nothing. In terms of leveling, top laners are the same. Point Park's jungler has 1 higher level.
Very true.
I don't know about the mid laner because it's still spawning in on JBU's side. But Point Park, like, we're pretty evenly leveled with them. I would imagine that maybe the middle laner is a little bit of a higher level because that deficit's got to come in somewhere. No, they're even. So aside from the top laner that now has a higher level, Point Park is they're still in this. This game is going on for quite some time now. This is usually
into over 30 minutes.
Usually 30 minutes is maybe, sometimes you see 45-minute games, sometimes you see 30. It kind of all just depends on obviously how all this shakes out.
Very true.
But that's interesting. Yeah, so the Pioneers are going to try to rally here. They're going to try to go for a push maybe on the middle lane. They're going to try to push further into...
And it looks like Point Park is trying to, get into JBU's territory.
This is a real push.
This is a real push.
Trying to, I guess, even the score for when JBU had that big push into their spawn, took out a couple of turrets, maybe started to damage some of the inhibitors I might have missed.
Blue turret is destroyed going to Point Park.
Right, so again, I've eaten my words on this statement 18 times in this broadcast. But does 5 dragon buffs do it? By the way, I still don't know whether we all saw that Point Park killed the 5th. They killed the 5th. Or was that the 4th dragon? Am I crazy? I thought that was the 5th dragon.
I believe that was the 5th dragon. At least that's...
I thought that was the 5th. But so Point Park's pushing in now.
Looks like Highway is on a rampage.
Yes, this is
looks
interesting.
like there's only a 2-kill deficit. And
less than 4k gold.
Less than 4k gold.
So we'll see. This push could give the Pioneers a much-needed reprieve from being a little bit behind in the numbers department.
It's going to give them that necessary nudge to put them over the edge.
Yeah, and also obviously getting leveling from this. Like, there's a lot of good things.
There's quite a lot.
A good push is just something. It's something magical. It's something really fun to watch. They're all retreating though.
Yeah.
And maybe that is because is there another Baron spawning in?
To quote that Smith song, a push and a shove and the land will be theirs.
Sure, hey, and that's, yeah. So is there a Baron spawning in? I wonder why they stopped doing that push. Maybe they didn't feel like they were ready. There was a counter push coming. I thought maybe the Baron, but that does not seem to be. Oh my gosh. What did I say? I swear I didn't know that. Listen, the objective timers are off. I did not know that the Baron's actually going to be spawning in. I just predicted that. Turns out I was right. Again, the Pioneers cannot leave this uncontested. This is a very bad idea. They need to. I'm not an expert, but I think they need to get in there and shake this up.
Baron Nash. It is very vital.
No, but Kaki's gonna. Where are all the rest of them?
Looks like blue team has slain the Baron Nashor.
I don't listen. Again, I'm not meaning to criticize the Pioneers. I am not an expert of this game. I do not know.
Looks like JB is on a slaying spree, though.
I do not know why they're doing this.
Ribeiro has been slain.
But I thought that the Pioneers would have made more of a push to stop them from getting that Baron. I would have thought that that was the play. Again, I'm not an expert. The Pioneers might have made the right decision in the long run, but the inhibitors, they're getting the inhibitors. They're in Point Park spawn. I don't know what was going on here. This is so strange. The Pioneers seem like they're not playing a bad game, but they're just losing their footing. It's done. We're done. That's game.
Yes, unfortunately.
100% that game.
27 for JBU, 20 goes to Point Park. A victory has now been declared, and it looks like the win goes to JBU for the last game of this season. It was a very good, intense fight. Judging on the smile on the coach's face, it looks like everyone had given a good fight, shown excellent sportsmanship, which is all that really matters at the end of the day.
I agree. I mean, that's certainly a large chunk of it. And like I said, I ate my words 18 times in this broadcast. I kept mentioning those dragon buffs. Like you said, there was not really a point where it seemed like those dragon buffs actually did anything. But maybe they did. I don't know. I don't know enough about the game to really say. But it does seem like there is an interesting balance there in strategy of, again, how many dragons do we go for? Because when you go for a dragon, you are leaving your jungle uncontested, your turrets uncontested, your laning phases. Like, there is a potential that a team can get enough of a boost off of not going for the dragoness, but going for the dragon. So it's an interesting thing, and it seems like maybe the Pioneers did a little bit too much of going after the dragons, and maybe in the process, they lost out on the laning phase. They lost out on getting that bottom laner fed. Because that bottom laner, when that bottom laner gets fed, that is your damage dealer. That is the person that gets the job done in the spawn at the end of the game.
Yes.
A lot of times you'll see the bottom laner is like level 17, 18 by the end of the game because they get fed all of the kills. They try to absorb all that because usually whoever is going bottom lane is picking a high damage champion.
Absolutely. And, a lot of times if you focus on one aspect of the game and you maybe neglect or overlook the other aspects, that is going to definitely change the tide. But it was a very, very close game.
It was.
It was very difficult to... It was a very negligible gap right there. It was almost neck to neck if we think about it.
Right before the Pioneers lost, I was thinking that deficit's not that big, and they have, the levels weren't that different. Point Park had 4 dragon buffs. I don't know what happened to the 5th one. The 5th dragon buff
it did not seem to update on the system. That might be maybe perhaps a server technical difficulty.
My only thought is that maybe the interface only puts 4. And that anyway, so that's the thing. But that might have been a glitch. But either way.
But either way, I think that this was an excellent way, to conclude the season. Intense fights, excellent sportsmanship. I think this ends really on a very, very good note for...
Aside from getting a win.
Well, true.
A win would obviously have been the main thing.
Also, if you guys enjoyed this, don't forget our socials. We are on Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, and we are also on Twitch. Just look for us at PPU Esports.
PPU_Esports,
yes.
I believe.
Yes.
That's our handle on everything, guys. Instagram, Leah, our social media manager, is putting out some great content over there. We have a very consistent upload schedule now, so a huge shout out to her for that. That's given us a lot of growth. We've got stuff. We got full VODs on YouTube. We also have recaps on Instagram. The recaps go on YouTube as well, I believe.
They do, yes.
So we're putting out lots of content. This is happening. I shouldn't say we because I'm not doing any of it. The amazing people on the crew are putting out content that you guys should go check out. There's a lot of exciting things happening. I believe we do have some hype videos that are being worked on. We have the hype videos from last year, obviously. Got a lot of stuff. So go check out the socials. That is a conclusion of the 2023
League of Legends esports season.
Yeah, Point Park Esports, NACE. There's a lot of titles. There's a lot of things.
Yes.
But that's all. I've been Carson Brunt, the clown. Carson the clown.
And I've been Teresa Pat trying to emulate a vampire.
Yes.
And maybe we'll just toast to the last game.
Yes, toast to you. That was fun.
To you. Absolutely.
Have a nice night, everybody. We'll see you.
See you in the next season.
Trying to find where you fit in the world can be challenging. But then there's a moment where it all comes together. And that moment happens at Point Park University. Career-focused programs converge with a vibrant downtown campus to prepare you for work and life. From experienced professors and internships to culture and job opportunities, you'll get the best of both worlds. Point Park University, where it all comes together.